Welcome, everybody. My name is Catherine with Community CPA. Today, our topic is going to be on resources for business that are in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City corridor. So if you live there or if you do business in this area in Eastern Iowa, this is a great resource to know. We've pulled in Jamie Toledo today, who is with the Cedar Rapids Metro Economic Alliance. Hello, Jamie. Thank you for coming today.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for inviting me.
No responsibility disclaimer. Of course, we just want to let people know to take what you hear with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to any of the COVID-related resources that we share. Many of those are time sensitive and are, of course, changing as well. So as far as things that pertain to your business specifically, please consult your advisors, such as your accountants, legal advisors, and that sort of thing. So again, Jamie, thank you for coming on. I have Jamie's bio here. She is the Economic Development Relationship Manager with the Cedar Rapids Metro Economic Alliance. Jamie, how long have you been there now?
It will be 4 years in October. And prior to that, I was in the private industry sector, so with the utilities.
Awesome. So, whoops, we'll get to that later. But yeah, let's kick it off with a bit about the Economic Alliance, and you can talk a bit about your role there, but generally about the organization, the mission, and who do you serve?
Okay. Well, thank you again for inviting me. And I've had the pleasure to work with Catherine on some of our immigration efforts and getting the immigrants into the entrepreneurial space. So this is fun for me to come. And I'm so impressed that there's 9 languages that you speak at your company. That's incredible. That's great. We need more of that. The Economic Alliance is 3 entities that merged quite a few years ago now that focus on business attraction for the area. So that's, courting businesses from outside the state, even internationally, to set up shop in our region. We also work with our existing business. So when there's expansions that happen, you've probably read about some recent ones like BAE and Worley Warehousing and some of those that are going on right now. And we help with that. Also with retention, if we find out that somebody wants to leave the area, then we go in and help with those efforts too, to try to keep them to stay in the state. But we do have 4 core strategies that we work around every year. One's economic development and workforce. So I mentioned, working with our existing businesses on expansion and or getting more of them to set up shop in our area. We also have workforce enveloped into that. And while we don't directly work with workforce like Kirkwood might, or some of your college communities, we have a lot of marketing campaigns around that. So we had one last couple of years. It was Here It's Real, which talks about, your commute here in the area can be 15 minutes versus, an hour or so in some other cities and states. And then we also have community development. So we have a lot of events around community development. Some of you might have heard about Market After Dark or our farmers markets, but our farmers markets are usually 200 vendors strong. We also have in that bucket a lot of downtown efforts, buy local efforts for our downtown district. We have a 3rd pillar, which is public policy. And that is one that not a lot of people know about, but that's the reason why chambers were created to begin with. And that is to advocate for our businesses for anything that they need. So we are advocating right now for immigration visas to get easier, that process. We are advocating for childcare, early childcare support, the whole scope. So that's just something that we do behind the scenes that not a lot of people are aware of, but it's a really, really important part of what we do. And then the last bucket is around business support. And that's a lot of our programming and events. So we hold monthly programming. We have business networking opportunities for companies to meet each other on a quarterly basis. We have a huge biz mix that goes on. We do ribbon cuttings. We just have a lot of networking opportunities for our businesses and educational opportunities as well. So that's what we do. Basically, we have a lot of partners in that space, and I've given Catherine a one-pager that she can distribute to everybody if you're interested on who we partner with. But I'll just let you know a few of those because these are key people that you want to get connected with. We're a membership-based organization, but there are a lot of organizations we work with sideways. So a lot of entrepreneurial organizations like Nubo Co, SCORE that helps with free mentoring, SBDC, which helps with free mentoring, SBA. We also work with the Entrepreneurial Development Center, EDC here. So that's all in the economic development realm as far as new entrepreneurs. And then we also work with our utilities here. They're very, very supportive of economic development efforts. So the airport and your Alliant Energies and your Mid-Americans, all of them. And then we have cities and municipalities that we work with. So we are basically a huge connector for everyone in the area. And if you come to us, we will get you connected to the right people and place that you need to be for whatever your business concern is. So that's just a little bit about us. I will say we have some events that are that we're working on right now with immigration, like I said, getting entrepreneurs into that space, and also some community-based type of events that are free. So we've got Welcoming Week coming up, and that is in September from 10th to 19th. And we will be promoting basically everything in the area that has a diverse and inclusive nature to it. We have an inclusive ICR coalition, which is free to be a part of, that is all across the region. So seven counties strong and almost up to 200 people now. They meet on a quarterly basis. They learn about DEI subjects that's entirely free for you to participate in. That one is going to have a social networking event during that same Welcoming Week. So there's just a lot of fun things that we do for people that they can get connected. We do a lot of work with interns. If you have interns and you want to get them connected to other people in the area, we have Ignite ACR, and those are free for the interns to go to too if their companies happen to be members of ours. So that's probably a lot of information. I know I have a limited amount of time, but the one other thing that I wanted to bring up while I had everybody here was one of the best places to go get resources as well is also to look on Iowa SourceLink. And I will try to look up the actual, it is www.iasourcelink.com. That's going to give you all your kind of chambers in the area for Iowa. It will talk about some businesses, but it's a great connector, and it'll give you a little short description on what everybody does. We will have that eventually up on our website too with our partners, but if you want to find out about other chambers of commerce or main streets or entrepreneurial centers, that's an excellent resource to go to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. There's certainly a lot of different opportunities for people. So in terms of your direct work with amidst the space, what would you, where do you plug in, and what are your major focuses right now?
Well, as you guys might imagine, workforce. I think it's the first time that I can remember, at least in my lifetime, where workforce across the board is the top concern for everyone. Literally, from a small retail or restaurant up to your bigger companies. So we have a lot of efforts going on around marketing, around talking to our companies about being flexible and how they can attract employees. We've had discussions around what remote working looks like, since we all know we can do that now after 2020. So that's key. We're working really closely with Kirkwood and our educational partners to look at every avenue that we can. So a lot of that has to do with second chance hiring. So your returning citizens or formerly incarcerated citizens, diversity efforts, upskilling, reskilling, creating all the pipelines that we possibly can for businesses to succeed, or you as an entrepreneur, if you're wanting to grow, you need to have bodies, right?
Right.
Interestingly enough, around that, one of the big pushes that is coming out, and I would have everybody just keep an eye out for it, is manufacturing 4.0. We are also talking about the fact that it's time now to move into technology, right? So that doesn't mean loss of jobs, that means different types of jobs. But it definitely means if we want to compete on the global scale, we need to move more into technology. Also working with a childcare coalition about the lack right now, unfortunately, of childcare provision, and that was already a crisis before 2020, and it's definitely one now. So working a lot of those efforts. Also, a lot of immigration efforts right now, as far as where we have Cedar Rapids, we've got a federal processing center here, getting them well integrated and welcome into the community, showing them how they can set up businesses. And that's where those languages come in really, really handy.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think people would be surprised at the business growth in that particular opportunity population. They are really setting up shop, and so if you don't see it now, you will in a few years, that they're a big entrepreneurial type of population. So those are probably the big ones right now: technology, workforce, just getting everybody connected to resources, and that's where we're at.
Wonderful, Jamie. So when somebody wants to connect with the Alliance, what are some ways that they should go about that? Through your website, or?
Yes, absolutely. There's a place on our website where you can check out all the different things that we're doing, from events to being a member and coming into some of those business support programming. So I would say go to the website and check it out. If you are interested in becoming a member or learning more, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Ann Laugen. She's our membership specialist, and we'd be happy to help you.
Awesome. In terms of member benefits, then, I imagine some of the events that you already have are open to the public, but then are there specific member type events as well and opportunities?
Yeah, we have a lot of those. Actually, our business mixes are just that. So those are quarterly, and we have them in Hiawatha, but also in Cedar Rapids and Marion. And those are members, and those will be held at member businesses. There are also opportunities for touring. So we have an industry tour coming up that will be really interesting. It's talking about how the supply chain logistics have all changed.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So few little stats here, but in 2017, Amazon had maybe 58 of those hub and spoke type of distribution centers, and now they're going for close to 2,000. So that's meant the supply chain has changed drastically. So there'll be a tour of Worley warehouse in Trevero, which is a train to truck loading, so an intermodal facility, and that's should be of interest to people, just how all that's working and the statistics behind it, and what do we see in the future. So there's opportunities for that. And so it just kind of depends, but we have a lot of, I would say, more private opportunities for people to network with each other. We're going to have a breakfast coming up for some of our larger investors to all get to know each other. And that's really neat, so they can meet somebody outside of their industry, or even complementary to theirs. And we also have 3 leadership programs. So we have a youth leadership for 5 seasons program. We have an adult class that gets really competitive every year. Every class is the best class, but that's very strong. And then we have an executive leadership for 5 seasons class too. So those are great network opportunities. In the adult class in particular, they have usually between 30 to 40 people participate in that. So you get to meet a lot of people who are in the business space and network with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in terms of like the industries and sectors that are represented in the membership and in your focus areas, right, of what you're working with, what are some of those major ones?
Well, even though we cross over 4 counties, specifically the EA does, we're also working with a joint venture that crosses the 7 counties, so into like the Iowa City area. And we have very strong business attraction pillars, a lot of them around bioprocessing and agriculture. Ed tech, obviously, is another one. We have really strong growth, obviously, in logistics and warehousing right now, just given the business environment. So those are a few. Those are probably the bigger ones. Advanced manufacturing, of course, we have a lot of that across the board. So not just in ag, but in advanced manufacturing in general. We've got a good base there, business base there. So those are some of our big ones. And I think this would surprise people too, but there's an awful lot of international components. So some of the businesses that have just grown recently, like International Flavors has grown. Those have been here forever, and that's French, and they keep expanding. So there's we actually do have quite a bit of an international presence, and I think that might surprise people.
Wonderful. So I think those are the main questions that we have for you today. Are there any other things you want to add, or what is great about living in the Cedar Rapids area to do business and live in?
Well, being a person who lived out of the country, I lived out of the country for 13 years and then returned back. So I'm a boomerang, as they say, coming back to this area. I am really very pleasantly surprised with how global we've become in the last few years, and it continues to be so. So that's encouraging to me. But Cedar Rapids, or Iowa City, in this area in general, or Iowa in general, is just a good place to live because of the education that's offered here, the quality of education. It's very reasonable place to live, and you hear about people who are fleeing from the bigger cities because it's so expensive. You know, I'm a single mom and I can easily afford a house here. So that's important. You know, your commute is maybe 15 minutes long, depending, right? But yeah, and now we have all kinds of really neat amenities, just community amenities that are popping up. So there'll be, kayaking. Cedar Rapids Connect will have beaches and bike trails, and we're connected almost all the way up to Iowa City now. Amana Colonies, someplace that a lot of people don't think about, and that's if you were to go on the East Coast, to have an experience like that would be very expensive, and it's very reasonable here. So we just have a lot to offer, and you can be as busy as you want to, or you could kind of take yourself off the grid, but you don't have to worry about the traffic and the crime and some of those things.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jamie. I wanted to put up your contact for the Alliance so that people can reach out to you. I showed the website earlier. It's cedarrapids.org, but you can also email them, Economic Alliance at cedarrapids.org, and then they are also on social media, so you can find them and their activities there as well. And of course, if you have any questions that you'd like me to pass along, feel free. I will bring them over to Jamie and I'll connect you. So I am happy to facilitate that as well. So thank you for your time, Jamie, today. I really always enjoy talking to you and working with you. So
por supuesto. Yeah, I please reach out to us if you want to get connected with the business community, and our mission is to drive economic growth and help businesses succeed. So we will get you to the right place and the right people best we can. So thank you for inviting me, Catherine.
Yes, no problem. All right, everybody, we will see you on Saturday.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.